Okay, there we go. We are recording. This is Raven Mayne with Defining Your Personal SCA Journey.
Greetings. Yeah, again, this is Master Raven Mayne. I'm in the Kingdom of Aidenvelt. This is Defining Your Journey. I came up with this class when I got elevated in 2012. I realized that I had been in the SCA and I have done tons of stuff by then. I had been in all the martial arts and all of the arts and all of the service things. And when I got elevated, I realized one of the things that I said to myself was, the questions was, how did I get here? Because I had been doing so many different things that I didn't know how I was going to be able to show anybody, or tell anybody how I even did what I did. And I found out that a lot of other peers also had that same, behind the scenes, they wouldn't actually, tell everybody, but that they, once they were going to get, if they were going to get a student or something, they were going to have to figure out, every peer had to figure out how to tell them how they, how to guide them. And most of the time, they had to do their own self research and find out how they got to that point. So in the early 2000s, I was protéged, and one of the things that my mistress gave to me was or asked me to do, was to get a SCA resume, and I keep it to this day. So that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about in this class. And also, before I became Laurel in 2012, I had been I thought I was doing what every other artisan was doing on the same path. I was in every showcase. I was at every collegium, in and out of the kingdom. I was teaching. I was entering competitions. I was working on art. I was working on multiple different arts. And once I got elevated, I realized that I was one of the only ones doing all that work and doing all those things. And I was very surprised. I just assumed everybody was doing all that stuff. And I also didn't know, after I got elevated, who the artisans that I had been hanging around this whole entire time, I wasn't 100% sure they wanted to be Laurels. I mean, some of them had green belts, but there was many artisans that I thought were amazing, but I wasn't 100% sure they wanted on the same path. So this class normally was geared towards if you were protéged, apprenticed, or or squires. So that's where I was geared. So I've changed it since I started teaching this in Zoom. So it's changed multiple times, and I keep trying to, and I've now kind of split it up, and I've made a mess of it, pretty much is what I've done. And I also decided that I needed a challenge subconsciously, because I changed this entire class last night to make it totally new. So now I get to teach this class for the very first time, sort of revamped the whole thing. So I'm going to share my screen. This is also, I didn't get to put a lot of better graphics in it, so I'll start it off in the new route. Okay. So this is defining your personal. I've changed the title too a couple times, because I didn't want to say this is the only way you can do it. This is the way to do it if you want to get to a peerage. So I also been getting some feedback, and I just realized some of this class which I've changed in this class, is actually talks about peer-like qualities, which was not my intention or the entire, at all writing this, but I realized that, yeah, a lot of it actually is. So I've kind of separated. So like this is one I just revamped it. So when you're thinking about your journey in the SCA, you want to, from new person to participating, maybe being in a leadership kind of role, and maybe someday, if it happens, you might be bestowed a peerage. So there's a lot that goes from when you first start, and sometimes when you start in the SCA, that's not most of the time. The feedback and the responses I've gotten is that most people don't go start the SCA and go, that's the peerage I'm going for. That's where I'm going to go. They're most of the time they don't even know where they want to go. They're hesitant on doing a lot of things. And I totally understand that, because that's why I was too. I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, it's good to think about. Just think about it. You don't have to necessarily do it right away, but just keep your eyes open, your ears open about where you're going and how you're doing it. But remember to keep happiness the theme along the way. So no matter what you do, make sure that you're concentrating a lot more on your happiness, because that is what's going to keep you playing in the SCA and having fun and doing things. So if it's not fun, don't do it. So it sounds pretty straightforward, but some people actually need to actually hear it. So you have to, that should be one of your main goals, just to enjoy yourself. You don't have to do a lot of things in the SCA. You should do a lot of things, but you don't have to. So just enjoy yourself. So start by identifying your goals. So when you start in the SCA and you're doing things and you're thinking, you might want to do stuff, see where you want to go. Do you like the arts a little bit more? Do you like service, maybe giving back and doing things? Most of the time I see a lot of people, doing things behind the scene. The biggest ones obviously is you want to get a lot of people that want to start, in the fighting arts, because they see the hearts you fighting. So maybe, fighting, being a champion, or maybe a knight someday. So the one thing I did want to suggest to everybody that I've been thinking about when I talk about this class is, no matter where you think you want to go, build up your social connections early. And what I mean by that is that do a little bit of service, help at events, cleaning up, moving stuff, maybe just, whatever, lending a hand at an event and being some kind of service. Maybe just fight in a couple of tournaments, maybe make armor, maybe talk, hang around with the people doing armor, maybe get interested in some of the arts. Be well-rounded when you come into the SCA, because you have no idea where, no matter even how concentrated or focused you are, you never know where you're going to end up. I started in the SCA in the late 90s, wanting to be a knight. I went and I did a lot of service and a lot of fighting, and I ended up doing a lot more arts and became Laurel. I would not have even guessed that, myself. That was something that may never ever happen. So a lot of things change other ways. So identify what goals you have and where you would like to go and do in the SCA, just to have an idea of what you want to do. So after you get your goals down, you want to identify your path. So you want to get your path laid out. Doesn't have to be set in stone, obviously. It doesn't, it'll move and it'll change, and a lot of things will happen in and out of the SCA that will gear you towards, someplace. So this is a lot of stuff that you actually might see also outside of the SCA that, people get asked, but where would you like to see yourself? This is in the hand, not in the handout. Something similar is in the handout, because I've modified it again. So, but this is something that you want to write down and you want to put into some sort of notebook that you're going to keep safe. I was thinking last night, you want to keep it like where you keep your, the titles and the deeds, because that's the kind of stuff you're not going to lose. But every other safe place you might never find again. So this is stuff to write down when you first start in the SCA. What would you like to see yourself, in a couple of years, if you could, maybe an ANS champion, or Heartsuit champion, or whatever, or maybe an autocrat in an event sometime, or whatever. So, and then try and figure out how you would get there. So do you want to do, how am I going to do more service or fighting or arts or whatever it is? What things could I do to get to my goal? And what are the things that you need to accomplish those goals, those little goals to get you your main goal? And one of the things I wrote in here is, do you have if you have more than one plan? And then I put down the answer. The answer is always yes. So always have more than one plan, always. I've seen, I can't tell you how many people I've seen have so stressed out because they're concentrating so much on one thing, and if that doesn't work out, they're giving up or they're not going to do anything. Always have multiple plans. Me and my wife have done that for years in the SCA, and we have been so less reduced stress and anxiety about everything because we know that if this one thing doesn't work out, we just jump to the next thing. Okay, now we'll try that one. That doesn't work out, we go to the next thing. And or if we do get the first thing, we do it to the best of our ability, and we always have something to go to when we're done. So it's always good to have it. So I always have multiple plans, always have things ready, contingency plans and everything else. So identify the one thing that you go to events for. So is it fighting? You want to make sure that it's only fighting event. But don't just go to an event because it has what you want. It's nice to go to different events to see what other people are doing, because there are different social groups within the SCA that are doing different things. So for instance, you're gonna, the fighter, not necessarily cliques necessarily, but there's a social group around about that. So there's a lot of people that just do fighting and nothing else. So if you maneuver yourself to go and visit other sections, other interest groups, just to get to know them and see how they do things, and you may find a new interest, you never know. So be able to enjoy any event by doing that, this will help you enjoy any event you go to. You can show up at any event and look around and go, I know about that, I want to go do that. Or I have wanted to get to know more about that, I'll go over there. So you'll always have something to do. Even if you're by yourself, you'll always have something to do. There's different groups that'll show up at different events, like I said, and you'll always have places to sit and people to talk to. So, and that's part of the SCA, is be part of the social construct group. And then once you learn things, the best way to remember all those things is to teach them. So to show someone, even if it's just your friends, but you want, maybe if you learned a new art, teach that art. If you learn a new fighting thing, or you learn how to do maybe filling out paperwork or whatever it is, teach someone how to do it, no matter whether it is. So always share your knowledge as soon as you learn it, and it'll help you keep it fresh in your mind and remember all that stuff. If for some reason, whether it's your plan or not, you do get asked to be elevated to one of the peerages, what do you think will change? I know this is way far out for a lot of people, but or thinking that may never ever happen. But it's always good to train. So it's always good to think about it. So never have a goal be your end, even if it's a peerage. That's not the end. That's just a stepping stone in your path. So if you get elevated, what are you going to do when you're elevated? If you're a champion for what arts or fighting, what are you going to do with it? Don't just, I've seen so many times, I can't even tell you how many people have gotten to a point and they stop, or they don't do anything. They just, I mean, it's good to relish in your wins and your accomplishments, but think about what you can do with it. You have something for a certain amount of time when it's a champion, but you have it when you're a peerage. What are you going to do with it when you get it? What would you like to do if you ever become a peer and deciding you'd like to do with it? And I encourage everybody to do that. So, and then, like I said, take your time to enjoy every milestone. Even if you enter an ANS competition and you don't win, think about all the work you did to get there, and just reflect on that and say, all this research I did, all the paperwork I did, even if no matter what the judging says, no matter whatever anybody says, after the event, take some time to really just enjoy it as if you won, and just pat yourself on the back about all the great things that you did just to get to that point, no matter what. You'll always be happy if you do that. Now, I recommend everybody do this. I've had multiple people ask me just to do a class just on this, and I'm not 100% sure how I could do that, but this is really needed I'm shocked only because I do this. I've been doing this for 2 decades, so it's not new to me. It's like, well, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you have an SCA resume? But this is what I do, and I update it every class I teach, which I just mentioned in my last class that in my resume, and I've now had to I had add a section under teaching of my Zoom classes, what kingdom I taught in and what I taught, which is just, obviously no one would ever think that I had to do that, or anybody would have to. But having your SCA resume, it has your SCA name, Monday name, membership number, expiration date, any awards, baronial awards, offices you held, kingdom, baronial offices or war offices, events you maybe ran, you taught, tournaments you participated in, and then anything else that you did that you think needs to be put on there. Like I put in, I made 20 hawks lures, for the kingdom for their awards. So I put that in there, and I made 60 medallions for our barony for their awards, So I just keep it. And the reason I do this is a lot of stuff, I don't have a great memory, but if I want to have a place to automatically just go to, I could just go there and go, what's your member ID? Oh, where's my resume? There it is. I don't have my card with me, but I know my memory. Or, what event was that when such and such happened? I go, well, I know I ran that event. When did I run that event? And then I could, it's not going to say everything, but it's going to give me a point of reference that, will give me better way to get that information back.
I'm sorry, can we interrupt now, or do you prefer the questions at the end?
Because it's you, yes.
I wish I had started this when I started my SCA career, because now I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I know I've done this, but when and where?
Yeah. And
I know I don't have a lot of years under my belt, but it's like going back to 8 years is like.
Yeah. And I tell new people all the time, I'm like, make a lot of scribes, where I caught it first is scribes don't, or like, no one's going to want to, don't copy my scroll, don't take a picture of it, it's okay, just let it go. I did a scroll, so I'm like, don't do that. If you're in the SCA and you last in the SCA, you're going to want to know what that's. I lost countless scrolls that I did that when I started, and I'm like, I know that went to somebody, I just don't know who. So, but yeah, this is one of those things that I encourage, just start it and then try and do your best. And I've used this and surprised a lot of people. I use this when I applied for my letter of intent for anything. So I include this in there. So when I went for kingdom minister or society minister, or when I applied to be, any of the jobs at Estrella, I included my SCA resume in it. So a lot of people don't do it, but when me and my wife went for Baron and Baroness, we put one of these in there. So it comes in really handy. So if you can do it.
If anything, just to remind yourself or to keep what you've done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, one thing I was just realizing this the other day, every now and again, I'm not sure if everybody does this, but at some point in time you get kind of down, you're like, or not necessarily burnout, but it could be, or you get to a point where you're like, well, I've done so much, and by looking at this, sometimes it'll remind you how much you have done, what you have been doing and stuff like that. So it'll kind of give you your own snapshot of your accomplishments of all the things you have done and the recognition you've gotten for those things. And so it kind of, every once in a while when I look at it, it cheers me up. For us in the kingdom, I would look at my OP and go, so yeah, I did a lot, and I got appreciated for all different things I did. So.
Are we going to have access to your PowerPoint?
Sorry?
Are we going to have access to your PowerPoint?
You can.
Okay.
So that
I don't have to take notes on.
Yeah. Plus, I got to write a brand new. I have a handout for this class, but now it'll work, because it's still a good handout, but it's not this class. So I'm going to have my wife do better graphics on the stuff, and I have to redo a whole handout. But I will send you my handouts because it has same good, really good information. It's just in different order.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you participating in, or just attending events? Now, most people think that this is kind of similar, but it's not. Participating, attending an event is going to an event, sitting down, relaxing, talking to your friends, maybe enjoying all the activities, and then going home. That's what attending an event is. That's what you do. I attended the event. I ask everybody to participate in the event, and that means cleaning up, you know, at before, after, toting something in, helping people load stuff in. Just that specific thing is all I'm asking for people to do. If they could just do that one thing, helping set up tables, whatever it is, that's participating. That's what keeps the SCA going, is being a participant in the SCA. Now, a level above that is if you took on an officer position or became an event steward or something like that. But participating is, you know, multi-levels, but being a participant in every event makes you feel a little bit better, in my opinion, about attending events, that you've actually done something. You didn't just hang out and, you know, enjoy everybody's hard work and not say anything. So yeah, if you can participate, not just attend. If you can. And I tried to add a graphic, how to work. Aha! See, what's the difference? I should have done that before. I don't know how to work PowerPoint, but I made that the other day. So what is the difference? Nice attend. How are you building your SCA volunteer points? Now, people have no idea what that means. I've been using this for years. And basically these are unvocalized things. People don't even talk about this. It's just something that happens. And what this is that you will find out there's a lot of people behind the scenes. There's a lot of people that just do a lot of service, and that's just what they do because they love it. So what happens is you're going to see them over and over again at every event you go to. And eventually you're going to build a relationship with that person. You are helping them out. So you help them load something, you help them fill out some paperwork or whatever. And then when it's your time, you do the event, you have a list of people that you're going to talk to, because you worked with all of these people. So now you have a list of all these people that you went to all these events and help them out. Those are the first people that you're going to talk to. And those are the volunteer points that you kind of build. And it's not, you know, you're not going, hey, you know, I need to redeem these things. That's not how it works. It's just that you've given them something, they're going to give you something back, and it goes back and forth. And the higher and bigger events that you go to, the bigger things that you do, you're now going to have a group of individuals when you do any event that you're going to be able to call on, not just members of your household, but a lot of different people. You go, well, you know, you'll know someone that is perfect, that does tournaments way better than you could ever set them up. You've helped them set up ropes. You've helped them maybe at the, you know, at the list table, whatever it is. You're gonna, you know, say, you know, I'm gonna need your help if you can, and it goes back and forth. So, so even if you don't know where you're going or what you're gonna do in the SCA, build up these, like I said, social interactions, social connections, volunteer points, so that way you don't have to go, well, you know what, now I want to do something. You know, you'd rather have a whole thing behind you supporting you before you even start. So it won't be as scary to do different stuff. So I would. So these are what I'm going to list. These weren't, like I said at the beginning of the class. I've written this class and it says it was peer like qualities, but I didn't write it with that intent. These are just things I suggest that people do. Just stuff to think about. So when you're in the SCA and you just need, you know, maybe you're not sure what you want to do in the SCA, or you feel if you need to answer the door, or whatever you need to do. So these are things that are all my opinions and my thoughts and my suggestions to people to do, to keep in mind, to, if you ever in a point where someone tells you just keep doing what you're doing, you're not 100% sure what that means, whatever that is, all these suggestions that I'm about to give you are just things that you go, well, I'll do that and see if that helps me, or I'll do this and see if that helps me. So like I said, these weren't intentional to be pure-like qualities, but I guess they are. So not all of them, and these are just my opinion. These aren't written down, anywhere but right here. So, just for the job you want. So this usually came about for people that wanted to be knights. They would go and they would fight in tournaments, and the worst thing you could possibly wear, you don't even look like you've been playing. You look like you've been drinking or something. You don't look like you should be at a tournament and you're out there fighting, and your armor is falling off of you, and you don't. So if you want to be a knight, dress in really nice clothes. Find someone to make you nice clothes. Look like you're already a knight. You don't have to. Now, I'm not saying pretend to be a knight or to pretend to be a peer, but just look it. Just have that look to you where people are like, "Why? I thought you were a knight," or "He should have been a peer a long time ago. What's wrong with that?" Someone will start asking questions. So, just for where you want to be, and maybe one day you'll get there. So always think about that. Treat people how you want to be treated. Pretty much simple stuff. When you're going to an event, no matter what your life outside the SCA is doing to you, try and make it so that way when you go to an SCA event, you're nice to people, you greet people with a smile, you try and be as happy as you possibly can. You may not be that way when you get to an event, but if you just keep doing that, you're gonna enjoy yourself at the event and be happy and thankful that you went. You did things. So try and treat people, and they'll treat you. If you walk up with someone with a smile, they're more often than not, unless something major drastically happened in their life, they're gonna smile back at you and want to be around you and want to talk to you. So
wouldn't it be beautiful just to use this outside too?
yes,
World would be so much better.
Yes, yeah, and like I said, in real life, what's going on now, it's even hard to do a lot of these things. So I've been lucky so far, but yeah, it's really life is really hard. So that's one of the reasons that even though right now we're having a hard time figuring out how to do it, I really believe we need to get back into socializing somehow in person, because it's become a necessity for me. I have been, because of my medical issues, I've left the house 13 times in the past year. So about once a month I've left the house, and that's it. So now I'm even more anxious to get out of the house and just to talk to people in person than any other. So yeah, all of these things are good in and out of the SCA. The other one is the last one on here is just act like a peer, and that doesn't mean pretend to be a peer. It means act like one. So if you see someone that you idolize or that you look up to, just look at the qualities that they have, and maybe as you would in and out of the SCA. Even if you have a mentor, you probably want to try and figure out how to be how to treat people better, or tips and tricks of how to just be a better overall person. And doing things is you have to learn as you go, because there's like anything, you can't find a book with all the information in it. So that just kind of be a better person and be a leader, and be a general all-around person. How do you know when someone else is on the right road? So this is not, the answer to this is not one thing, but I've noticed this relates to something that I just said. And there are at least a handful off top, if I could think off the top of my head. There's probably more that I would go, I thought they were a Laurel, or I met somebody right into the first person I met in the SCA, one of the first persons, and I said, for years, I thought it was a Laurel. I asked him to teach all the time and judge all the time. And then 5 years down the road, I'm like, oh no, he's not. I'm like, what? Like, because he had that air about him. He dressed that, nice. He knew everything. He had so much information, and he was so talented, and everything else. But that's one of the ways that you'll know when someone's on the right road, when someone already assumes they're there. So that is one of the ways. But a lot of peer-like qualities and acting like peer and being a good leader and stuff like that is something that someone might not, or someone might, they used to do that to me too. Is someone would automatically assume that I was a peer and too, but it's not something you can ask someone to do. Someone will just do it, and you'd be caught off guard, but just let you know that might be a clue that maybe you're on the right path. So make friends, be nice. It goes on, treat people how you want to be treated. Always try and be nice to everybody. You're going to treat it a lot of times for many reasons. When you're doing an event or doing stuff, it'll be someone's first impression of you. So just keep that in mind. So if someone just knows, if you had no matter how your day's going, I know it's hard to do a lot of times, but if you're not having a good day or what you're doing and you just snap at somebody, that person may just remember that one thing you did that one time for the rest of their time in their SCA and will avoid you. Not always, not everybody. Just keep that in mind. Just try and be nice to people. The other thing is something that you can't really do. You need your friends to help you with this next one. And that's to be cognitive of your reputation. No one's going to come up to you and tell you what what they, not necessarily, especially a stranger, come up to you and tell you what they think of you. So, and not everybody will tell you that one bad experience they had with you, or what people decided urge people not to talk to you about, or not to mention around you, or whatever. You'll never know those kind of things. So your friends are going to need to be ones to keep their ears and eyes open and find out, if you need to start tipping the balance, no matter what happens that one time, whatever. Try tipping the balance the other way and try and be more of a to be seen more of a welcome and nicer person down the road. So just if if your reputation is that you're a whole person, and then you wonder why you don't have a whole lot of friends and not getting what you like in the SCA, you have to be cognitive on your attitude and what you've been doing in the SCA. So that's all that means. This is one I believe in wholeheartedly, is that don't turn anyone away. It doesn't happen around me anymore because people know me, but I don't care what you do in the SCA or what you're doing in the SCA. Exchequer thing is the only thing that you can't really accept everybody's help, or if you're if you're a steward for the crown, sometimes you can't always have somebody's come along. But majority of the time, if someone has in their head or someone told them they need to go do something to help, they've made the effort to go from point A to point B to where you are standing and putting themselves out there to lend a hand. Don't turn them away. If you don't actually need a helping hand, switch your mind and be an educator. Teach them what you're doing. They may not be able to help you, but teach them how to do it. And all of a sudden now they can go somewhere else and already have that knowledge. So no matter what it is, don't turn anybody away if you can handle it. Like I said, turn it into a teaching experience if you can't, they can't necessarily help you out, whatever you're doing. And this goes back to what I said before. The next one is about think about first impressions. So think about if you dress nice, sit there at an event and just smiling and enjoying yourself with whatever you're doing, talking, whatever. That's what someone's going to remember you for. So whether they know you or not, they might not even you might even not even see them, but visual first impressions, what listening to you, just keep mindful, especially when you're at SCA events, in and out of the SCA, but especially when the SCA for this particular class, try and be cognitive on first impressions of anybody. especially new people. If there's no opportunities in the SCA for something you want, so say you're like, I'm doing all this art, and no one's really seeing it, and I like to get it out there more, and I don't know what to do. Create a showcase. Go make an event. Go to someone else's event and ask them if you can have a showcase or have a tournament. Create something for the opportunity, not only for you to share your knowledge and your arts and your wares or your knowledge. It'll help everybody else show up too, and you get to have a group of everybody together. So if there's no opportunity, don't lament that there's nothing out there. Go and create it. Create the opportunity for you and for everybody else. So I can't, it's going to be beneficial to everybody. Delegate is the next one. That's very important because people forget to do that all the time. And I've had quite a few people blame the position that they were in or the job that they took as being too hard. And ultimately what it was is they didn't delegate enough. In my opinion, what I do, only physically I can't get around, is I try and be in one spot and give everybody a job. If they want a job, if they want to do something, I'll find something for them to do. And only if they come to me. I don't usually grab people and tell them to go do stuff. But I'll give, and I'll have like maybe 15 people doing some small job. One small little thing. One person maybe want to make signs, and then you put them all together and give them something to do. So I do a lot of delegating. So I try to delegate as much as possible. So ultimately, you shouldn't be working as hard. Ultimately, the hard part of a position should be trying to organize everything in your head and make sure everything works. But if you have enough people working for you, things will happen and things will work out and it'll be better. So one of the things that's really hard for a lot of individuals is that we're so ingrained that when we go to our job Monday, we have someone ordering us around because we need we're working. We're working for a person. That person tells us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. When we go to an event, unfortunately, a lot of us just start doing that in an event and start ordering people around. They're volunteers. You're a volunteer. None of them have to do anything you say. So, but if you're a good leader, leading by example, or showing them how to do it, and if you start thinking about how to lead them and how to show them where to do stuff rather than telling them, that's how you become a good leader and not a boss. You want to be a boss. You want to be a good leader. So, and be hospitable to everybody. Especially when you need help or a helping hand. If you're always welcoming and being hospitable to people, then you get in a jam or you have a problem to fix or you have something you need to do, you can call on a stranger if you build some sort of even small repertoire with somebody to be, that you're like, yeah, they said hello, I said hello, we were nice, and I said, would you like to help? And most of the time they usually do. So you never know who's going to be the next person that helps you out or your next friend. So this next one I had to write out a couple of times because every time I wrote it and explained it, it sounded awful. So when you get in the SCA or even out of the SCA, you're going to be aware of social or personal problems people have. And maybe someone's just not really social. They don't know how to interact with people, and but they're at the event and they're enjoying themselves. So what you need to do is, when someone's just showing up at an event, try and steer people away from them without actually explaining yourself. So sometimes they, if they want to go find a resource or wanted to talk to somebody, and there's a night that's really sociable, really loves to talk, give them towards that person. If you have another person who just, maybe focused on fighting, doesn't want to talk to anybody, don't send people to them to talk. or buy them or ask them for information. Sometimes they really need a focus, taking fighting as an example. So these things you kind of learn, and you just kind of, you know, if you can, don't seek out people to steer them in the right directions, just kind of, you know, nudge them in the right direction. If you tell them eventually, for some weird reason, you were the problem, not where you were sending them. So think about
Raven,
that.
not to interrupt, but you've got about 10 minutes. You're at about the 10-minute mark. So just to give you a heads up, okay?
Okay, I got 3 left, and I'll try and go through them. So.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
But yeah, again, be active participants. So. Hey, I'm at the end, so I'm gonna do it. Future homework just means that
I like this, looking for something new to do. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah. There's every, you know, you're trying to find someone who's just like, so what do I do? Or what do you have? What do you, that's why you always say, what do you like to do? Because then we have to figure out where to steer you, because there could be millions of directions that I can send you in. So you have to go, what do you like to do? Do you like board games? Do you like dancing? You know, and then I know who to send it to, or where, you know, how to get you involved. But they're just the hobby that has, you know, the hobby that has hobbies that has hobbies. So the future homework is just part of the thing that I said earlier about writing something down, you know, about what your goals and the things you want to do, and just put that, you know, aside and come back. And the homework is to revisit that in 5 years. Hopefully you're in the SCA and you're having a blast. But in 5 years, go back and look at it and go, what was I thinking 5 years ago? Because this is not where I was planning to go, or this was planning to go, how did I get here? Well, now for this whole class's purpose, you have an idea of what you did and how you did and what your thoughts were, and what, you know, how you can identify the path. And I think, in my opinion, having students now, I can say, this is what I did. You can try and do them, or you can do something similar, but these are the things that I know that helped me, I believe, get to where I'm at. So, and having that, you know, information really helps a lot. So yeah, it's just kind of like a diary in a sense, or a blog, even if you want to start a blog if you're into a lot of writing. But just anything to help you identify where you're started and how you're going and how things are going along the way, and then be able to review them later is invaluable. So use a lot of closing thoughts, but a lot of these things are just the same stuff. I'll try and go through them really quick. It's just try and be a good leader, just for the station you want, encourage everyone, work well in groups or by yourself, because you have no idea what's going to happen out there. Think on your feet. So if something arises, don't be that person that says, I have no idea how to help you. I don't know any information. You're looking at the wrong person. Try not to be that person. Sometimes it's hard, but try not to be. Try and have a direction to send somebody, no matter what the question is, no matter what the inquiry is. So keep negative thoughts, comments to yourself. Don't express them in public. Find a quiet place at an event or out of an event. Don't do that in public, because that's the only thing people want to know. Is there's a lot of people out there that just want drama and love it. So don't do it to yourself or anybody around you. If you have any problems, any issues with someone, do it with your best friend somewhere else. So don't do it at an event. Voice your concerns and your irritations to them, not to the world. Be control your reputation. Being known for a resource is one of the main peer-like qualities I could ever think of. If someone says, I need this, and the first person you think of, that's who you want to be. You want to be the one that says, I know exactly what to do. Here, this is all the information. I know how to teach you. And if you want to do something else that's slightly off that I don't do, I know where to go. Let's go over here. So that's what you would want. So I think you should try and do that for somebody else if you can. You shouldn't have to do anything. People say I have to go to an event. Sometimes you have to when you're a B&B or you're a Crown or you're a Seneschal, or you have a responsibility and you have to do the certain things. But if you just are doing stuff, you don't have to do anything. You should do your job. You should go have a good time, but you don't have to do anything. If you don't want to go, don't go. You should, but you don't have to. So just keep that. It's believe me, it's just hard. People would say when you have to do stuff, it sounds more stressful than, you know what, I should go help them. I think I will. That sounds a lot better. And my one thing that I'm known for is yet. So yet. So I don't know how to do that yet. I don't know how to weave yet. I don't know how to dance yet. So no matter what it is, always add yet to it, because it means that you've not limited yourself to what you want to do when you're learning.
Unless you know that you really don't want to do it.
I have found out that, for me personally, running collegiums, I've always wanted to learn a little bit about everything, because I know that certain arts need certain things in classes. I know that certain fighters need certain things, though I even, that I don't fight, but I want to at least learn about it, at least understand it, at least understand their limitations and what they're doing. And something, part of the resources where you can point to somebody and know who.
Okay, learn about it, I can see.
Yeah, just learn about it, not necessarily.
I'm not really interested in fighting, so
yeah.
But I'm willing to learn about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to chime in here, we've got like 4 minutes, so just to let you know.
The only reason I do the yet to is people don't go to courts, and they don't go to events, and they don't do a lot of things. And I always tell them do it, because also, if you learn about the court, how it organized, who's there, who's getting the award, what the award is, courts are a lot more entertaining than if you don't want to get that information. So, and watching fighting, if you know what a flat snap is and a leg rep and certain things will become more interesting than they were before. You can find fighting interesting and going, wow, yeah, that was not a good shot, or that was a good shot, or be able to look at stuff and be entertained by something that you want to have no involvement in whatsoever, like, anything that comes to sports. So, but so I'll end my class there, but I'll send you, after everything's fixed, I'll send you the handout, and I'll also send you the revised version of all this stuff, so that you'll have all that things.
Thank you, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, fantastic.
Questions?
Are there any?
If you have 2 minutes left, probably.
I didn't have any in the chat, so.
So if you have any questions or anything,
I've been asking, so.
Yeah. Only because it's you. How are you doing? Okay. Good.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Always wondering, make sure. Oh, the other thing I just mentioned in my last class, I thought was kind of funny. I read this small article that said she thought it was kind of weird that everybody's, not weird, but she thought really hard about saying, well, have a good day or have a nice day. And the way things are right now, it's like, you're not really 100% sure if that's going to work. So she thought of some different things. And one of them was, I hope you find many snacks that are very enjoyable today and it brightens your day.
Nice.
Hope you have a good meal today. Bye.
Well, on that note, I'm going to end the recording for us here. And then here we go.